You see them every single day, on every car, truck, and bus out there. They're one of the most common manufactured products on the entire planet, but we almost never stop to think about what happens to them. So today, we're going to talk about car tires. Every time you drive, your tires are in this constant, grinding contact with the pavement. So what are they leaving behind? Well, you might think it's obvious, but the answer is a whole lot more complex, and honestly, a lot more worrying than you probably think.
Yeah, it's way more than just a little bit of rubber. What's actually being left on our roads is this invisible environmental problem, and it's on a massive scale.
All right, to really get what's going on, we need to zoom in. I mean, way in. We're about to enter this hidden world of microscopic pollution that comes from the simple act of driving your car.
Okay, so this process, it's called tire abrasion. Basically, as your tires are rolling and flexing and just grinding against the road, these teeny tiny particles wear off. And these aren't just harmless bits of rubber. No, they are a major source of the microplastics that are seriously plaguing our environment.
So what's in these tiny particles?
Well, it's complicated. Researchers have found a staggering 2,456 different chemical compounds packed inside the rubber that's used to make our tires. And listen, these aren't just harmless materials sitting there. Every single tiny particle is like a little toxic package. It's got heavy metals, plasticizers, all sorts of additives that are designed to make the tire durable. And the worst part? When it rains, all those chemicals just leach out into our soil and our waterways.
And the scale of this, it's just immense. Some estimates suggest that this invisible dust from our tires accounts for nearly half of all the microplastics we find in our environment. Think about that. This is a huge pollution source that has been hiding in plain sight this whole time.
But, as big as this microscopic problem is, it's actually only half the story. So let's zoom back out, from the microscopic to, the macroscopic.
Because this is what happens when tires reach the end of their life on the road. We're talking about literal mountains of used tires, creating a very visible and very serious environmental mess.
This chart just lays it all out, and it's pretty shocking. Just look at that first bar. An unbelievable 84.5% of our waste tires, they just end up in stockpiles, illegal dumps, or landfills. Only a tiny fraction actually get repurposed or used for fuel.
And that 84.5%, well, it adds up to a number that's it's hard to even wrap your head around. In the United States alone, there are over 2 billion used tires just sitting in stockpiles right now. To give you some perspective, that's enough tires to last for 7 years, just sitting there.
And these mountains of rubber, they're not just ugly to look at. Their shape is absolutely perfect for collecting rainwater. And the dark rubber heats that water up, which creates the ideal incubator for mosquitoes that can carry some really dangerous diseases.
And this is where waste creates a direct public health crisis. You can see right here how specific species like the Asian tiger mosquito just thrive in these tire piles. And they're spreading serious stuff: West Nile virus, dengue fever. What's truly alarming is the scale of it. Get this, over just one season, a single tire can produce tens of thousands of mosquitoes.
Okay, so at this point, you're probably asking the obvious question, right? Why don't we just bury them in landfills or recycle them? Well, the answer comes down to some really tricky and honestly completely broken economics.
I absolutely love this quote from one of the sources because it just perfectly nails the problem. It says, like vampires, used tires don't stay buried in their graves. See, whole tires are mostly empty space. So no matter how much you try to crush them down in a landfill, they have this really annoying habit of floating right back up to the surface over time, and that can mess up the entire landfill.
So this is basically the system we've got. You have a tire hauler, they call them a casing jockey, who gets paid to take your old tires away. They can sell the best few for a little bit of profit. But here's the kicker. The cost to legally and properly get rid of the vast majority of those worn-out tires is way higher than what they earned in the first place. The math is simple, and it creates this huge financial incentive to just dump them illegally somewhere.
Okay, so it sounds like a pretty bleak picture, I know. But it's not hopeless. There are some really innovative solutions out there that could help us turn this massive waste stream into a valuable resource. It's really time to rethink the wheel's entire life cycle.
One of the most promising ideas is literally right under our feet. Or, well, it could be. If we grind up old tires and mix that rubber into asphalt, we can create roads that are way more resilient. They last 2 to 3 times longer than the normal ones. And check this out. Every single mile of this rubber-modified asphalt can recycle up to 16,000 old tires.
That's a game changer.
But for recycling to really work on a large scale, the economics have got to change. This chart here shows a model called producer responsibility, and the idea is actually pretty simple. You require the companies that make the tires to fund the recovery of their own products. What this does is it creates a new way for recyclers to make money, which lowers the cost of recycled materials and creates a real sustainable market for all those scrap tires.
So look, we've seen that car tires are these incredible marvels of engineering, right? They're designed for unbelievable durability and performance. The real challenge now is to apply that same level of genius to their entire life cycle. We have to ask, can we redesign a tire's journey for after it leaves the road? Thanks for tuning in.